My bitrate is through the floor. Yeah. Discord's saying I've gone live again. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna do my thing. And if everything breaks, right? I'm just gonna sit here vibing. Cool. So, I don't know what this game is. I know nothing about it. Other than apparently Kyle is famous. Oh, there's going to be ads again because Twitch thinks we restarted when we didn't restart. God damn it, Twitch. Alright. I'll just vibe to the music while the ads are doing their thing. The music's gone really slow. Ooh. Finish endings to unlock prizes. Oh. Swoop, doop, and gloop, gloop. Ooh. How do I... There is a lot of endings. Oh my word. Oh my word. 117. We might be here a long while, guys. Right, there's ads starting soon, it says. Because apparently, when my internet drops, we need to have some ads. Which do not give me enough money to pay for better internet. You're prepared to handle the hours. Good. Good, I'm glad. Do you know what? I don't know if Twitch is going to run ads or not. It's been saying ads are starting soon for ages. So I'm just going to start. And if people have got ads, I apologise. I don't know what you'll be missing.
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
Ah, cool. End of the game, right?
Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory.
Oh, now we get the
Stay Up
ads.
Late with Kyle.
Oh well. Stay up late with Kyle.
Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man.
Well, there were worse things to be.
Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields.
Oh, that's good.
Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best-of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast.
Is Kyle the only famous person?
The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet.
I wonder why some bits are in red and some bits are in black. I wonder what significance that has.
Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist.
Okay.
She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left.
Ooh.
He must choose his actions wisely.
Ah, so you can vote. I think you just type A for this one or B for this one in the chat. I think, if you want to. And you've got 12 seconds to do so. It worked! It's like magic! But then I can choose what to do. No, lowercase worked. Look. One vote for A. It does work! Right, you've got A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. They are in completely not a sensible order, apparently. And I make no promises that I will do what you vote for. Or maybe I should. Maybe I'll play through once without necessarily doing what you know, using your votes as a guide. And then I'll play through again, doing what I want. Oh, you were too late, but I'll go for D. I'll go for D. A, B, or C? A is writing notes. No, A is back to room. B is writing notes. C is checking in desk drawer. I'm so impressed that it works. It really is magic. I didn't have to install anything or anything. I just had to tell the game my Twitch username. And then it just magically does. Yeah, I do feel like that's a good option. It wouldn't be saying check in desk drawer if there was nothing in the desk drawer, right? Right? Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there. Is it going to be a sort of change or a small key, or are we going back to the desk? I feel like we could do with some music. I'm vibing anyway.
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept in his desk.
Right, so now we've got A, B, or C. Back to room, write notes, or check in desk drawer. No, hang on. Whoop. Perfect. B, is it?
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Am I a mother? Are you a mother? Is your mother a mother? They are all awful questions to ask somebody. Like, if we're interviewing someone, shouldn't we already know that? And why... Sure.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
Ooh, now we're getting into the real nitty-gritty. Beef, mashed or blended? When he says a raw egg whole, does that mean, like, just crunching down on the shell? I guess we'll find out. Do you know what? I might. Hang on. Can I? I'm gonna do the thing. I'm just gonna accept you. Whatever Twitch wants.
Kyle woke up.
What? No!
He
I didn't want to
is
do that.
Famous.
Why?
Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man. Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring
I'm sorry, I didn't
youth
mean to
to
start it
explore
again.
STEM fields.
I didn't
Most
know
other
that would
talk
do it.
shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best-of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet. Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions wisely. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
Wait, I can vote too. I can vote too. I've just realised I can vote too. I'm voting. Ooh.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
Oh, look! A little ghost. Oh! That's your fault, Alexa.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
I do wonder what Frosty's going to make of this chat when he does his summary. He's going to be proper confused, isn't he? What nutter?
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed
You
one of the
voted for
items
it,
stored
Alexa.
there.
You voted for Withering Away.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
No.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Is your mother a mother? I can't believe we've got to find 117
Kyle
endings.
wrote down his second question.
I want to know about the beef. I don't know how it chooses when there's two. I think it just does it at random, maybe? Haha! I won that one.
Kyle wrote down his third question.
I purposely ran over a puppy is not a question. No, Alexa, the poor puppy. Can't believe you'd do that. Can't believe you'd purposely run over a puppy.
Kyle wrote down his last question. Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
We never picked up the key. Or the change. Hang on, weren't there 30 hours to start with? That took us a long time to write down those not even questions.
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
I don't know if we need the key. Oh, this is our inventory. So we've got our notes and we're a ghost. Okay, I get it.
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept in his desk. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
We've used up half our time. And what we've got for it is a key and a few scrappy notes on a bit of paper.
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
I love how it takes us an hour to sit down at our desk. And it's taking us another hour to grab the change. We move really slow.
Kyle scooped up the change scattered around the desk drawer. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
Don't do it, Alexa. Well done. You can keep your sword. There's a bug in my room.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts.
I wonder if there was a way we could have turned a light on.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't even know what skunk pasties is. Oh, it's too clever for that. It's too clever for that. It only counts it once.
Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. After much squeezing and sweating, Kyle managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Yeah, you got the armor. No, it took the suit of armor. Even though it only counted your vote once, you still win.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
Good, I'm glad you're happy. Look at our injury. I've just remembered we're a ghost. So we're a ghost in a suit of armor. We're technically a haunted suit of armor.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Oh, and now we've got a special option because we're a ghost. Interesting. We're not going to get to this interview, are we?
Kyle used his ghostly powers to walk straight through the door. Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
I mean, we've all got a room like that, haven't we? I mean, it got us in this room, Alexa. I'll give you that.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was only half removed. Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
Oh, well. That was worthwhile, wasn't it? Look, I never said I was a good ruler. Oh.
Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived.
Oh, that's lucky.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
I feel like it's just how Kyle rolls at this point.
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show.
We have to do our screaming and spinning in circles thing, otherwise it's not the real Kyle experience, is it? We're famous for a reason.
Kyle shoved his producer out of the way, spread his arms wide, and began to scream loudly.
Yeah, he did.
He began to rotate slowly, screaming throughout, lightly brushing his hands against the faces of Rachel and his producer. After several minutes, Kyle was finished. He slowly put his hands to his sides and smiled.
That's a long time.
"I'm ready," said Kyle. Rachel blinked at Kyle, shrugged, and walked over to her seat. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. "Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction." Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello, Kyle," she said. "I'm glad to be here." In response, Kyle collapsed on the floor. From a combination of stressful preparation and not eating anything,
Oh,
Kyle
no.
passed out. Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved. After a while, they ended the broadcast, shut off the lights, and went home. Kyle was left face first on the floor.
Kyle prepared by starving himself. Okay. Do I reset? I don't know. I don't know what's the go back to the beginning and try again option.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
We were a ghost, but in the lore of Kyle is famous. I don't know if ghosts can't eat.
Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
Okay, you go noodle away. Means I get to choose what I want. Unless someone else turns up and ruins it all.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Yeah, gossip.
Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. I heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more. Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers. There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened, and someone exited the neighbor's apartment. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Oh, we got some gossip. Good stuff.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts. Kyle decided to take some time to choose the
going
perfect
with the
outfit,
slick
knowing
suit.
how important appearance... Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. Kyle wrote down his first question. Kyle wrote down his second question. Kyle wrote down his third question. Kyle wrote down his last question.
Yeah.
Kyle ripped
good
his page of
questions.
notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
Right. I think we need
Kyle
to eat
returned
something.
to the center of the bedroom.
Apparently.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find
Eat
something
crust
to eat.
on fridge wall. Eat the fridge. We can do some
Kyle
interesting
constructed
things.
a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage.
Kyle's looking after himself.
Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but found it was
Oh,
locked
that's
with a
what the
small
key's
keyhole.
for.
Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
I think we still need to scream and spin in circles, right? Still got the theme music in my head. Do, 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 do.
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. Kyle shoved his producer out of the way, spread his arms wide, and began to scream loudly.
Yeah!
He began to rotate slowly, screaming throughout, lightly brushing his hands against the faces of Rachel and his producer. After several minutes, Kyle was finished. He slowly put his hands to his sides and smiled. "I'm ready," said Kyle. Rachel blinked at Kyle, shrugged, and walked over to her seat. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. "Good evening, everybody," said Kyle. "My neighbor is a bug vigilante." With nothing more to say on the matter, he fell silent. Rachel, also on camera, stared at her hands and wondered when she was going to be introduced. The producer started cutting to different camera angles to break the tension. Kyle continued to remain silent and stare forward blankly. After several minutes, neighbor Gabby walked out onto set. "Hi, everyone," she said, smiling hollowly. "My name is Gabby, and I'm not a bug vigilante." False. Kyle looked at Gabby and then returned to staring forwards. Gabby began to reply, but was interrupted by a bug-shaped intercom on her belt. "Bug girl," it squawked. "A robbery's in progress on East 3rd. Report immediately." Gabby threw the intercom on the ground and crushed it under her foot. After a beat, she spoke tightly. "Something has come up suddenly and I must go." Gabby left the set. "Well," said Kyle, "that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Rachel." Kyle got up, shook Rachel's hand again, and walked past the cameras, leaving her alone.
Best interview
Not
ever.
knowing what else to do, the producer ended the broadcast. In the coming days, fans of both Rachel and Kyle dubbed this show as a masterpiece of television. Stay Up Late with Kyle's online pages were updated to reflect this broadcast as the most popular ever. Kyle's producer later tried to have Rachel on the show again, but she was very, very, very busy.
Okay, yeah, so we've got 2 endings. Oh, the interview. So we might not even get to the interview. Ah, so we have to fill all of these to unlock this, maybe. Do we? I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. We haven't unlocked anything exciting yet. Okay, let's go again. Hello, Alexa.
Kyle woke up. He is famous. Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed.
Wait. Hang on. I turned that off, but that means that the autoplay doesn't play, so I'll do it again. Right.
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
We can skip all this, I guess.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
So, I did a story that you missed, Alexa, and in it, we did the interview, except we didn't talk about the interview at all. We talked about our downstairs neighbour instead.
Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment.
I wonder what we're wearing.
Together.
No, that's not what I meant to do. No, I wanted to do that one. No, I did the wrong thing. I don't want to go back in the bedroom. No. Oh no. I wanted to leave the apartment. Oh, good. We're not back in the bedroom.
Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
Little spoiler, Alexa, we can't check the pantry because it needs the little key that we didn't get out of the thing. Oh, well, choose it anyway then, whatever.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
I mean, we're dead anyway, right? We're a ghost. Can ghosts eat fridges?
Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device. He started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat. After many gurgles, pops, and snaps, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out.
What, ever?
Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
What's that mean? Oh, bad food. He's not having a great morning, is he, Kyle? First he died, then he ate a fridge.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
I mean, I suppose eating a fridge after you've died could be considered a positive, because if you're still around and able to do stuff like eat fridges, despite being dead.
Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him.
I really don't know what Kyle's wearing.
Kyle walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot playing soft music from a small microphone.
I'm kind of hoping he is naked. I think that's funny.
Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to heave
Come on,
upwards.
Kyle.
After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring, bewildered, and ran outside. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him.
This is a hell of a way to prepare for a TV interview. But, I mean, he's famous for a reason, I guess, so this must just be his process.
Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. "Good morning, neighbor," said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly.
I was about to say who's Rachel, but that's the person we're interviewing, isn't it?
"Gabby," Kyle asked, "what are your true thoughts about Rachel May?" "Oh, Rachel?" Gabby said. "She's a wonderful woman. Her generous acts have inspired more good work than bad." Gabby trailed off, not meeting Kyle's eyes. After several uncomfortable minutes of silence, Kyle turned around and left. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him.
I think we might be naked.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Headbutt, 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 headbutt.
Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with use of his face.
Uh-huh.
After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle gained severe short-term amnesia. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
So now we're a ghost who's eating a fridge. We've got a cardboard cutout of a dude. And we've got severe short-term amnesia. I think we're ready for the interview.
Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone.
Again!
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
Wonder what we do, what the sewing machine is for. Hi, Nay! How are you doing? How was your first day at school? Yes, I want to
Kyle
hear.
exited his bed and took a quick glance around
Nay,
his
you can
bedroom.
vote. If you type in the letter of the option you want, then you can vote. And we're on a timer, so I can't stop and talk to you, I'm afraid. But yes, I want to hear about your first day at school.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Right, hang on. Can I pause it? I can't pause it. Yeah. You can vote in the meantime, Nay.
Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon, he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive.
Ooh. Oh. Now you got the deciding vote. Unless there's anyone else knocking about who wants to vote. Please do.
Kyle threw back his head and crammed the sticky, wriggling mass into his mouth. He felt refreshed. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
I feel like we ought to put some clothes on this time. Or not, you know. Whatever, we can stay naked.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for... Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping
This
to hear
game's
some
got
stray words from the
117
neighbors below.
endings.
I heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more. Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers. There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened, and someone exited the neighbor's apartment. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
117 endings.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts.
What should we wear?
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
No one mentioned the suit of armor when we went to do the interview in the suit of armor. Maybe because we were spinning around and screaming, and then also we fainted from hunger. What is skunk pasties? Like what?
Kyle decided on a fashion-forward, casual style.
Yeah.
He could barely see out of the goggles. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Rather you than me, Alexa. I'm scared to Google skunk pasties.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor,
Dude, we already
realizing his
did the
immediate
scavenging.
need for... Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
We ate all the bugs and we listened to all the gossip.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. Kyle wrote down his first question.
Skunk pasties are an adult no time item. Okay. I'm glad it was you that Googled that and not me then, Alexa. RIP to your browser history.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
I've got to know about the beef, mashed or blended. It's an important question in the current climate.
Kyle wrote down his third question.
Still vibing to the music in my head.
Kyle wrote down his last question.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
I want to see what's in the pantry, so we need the key. You guys probably aren't going to let me do what I want to do in this game, though, are you?
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his
Sure.
desk and grabbed one of the items
Get the
stored
key!
there.
Get the key! Everyone vote B! Get the key! Yes!
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept
Oh
in
no,
his
have we got
desk.
enough time?
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
We're gonna run out of time. We had like 7 hours when we started looking in the drawer.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
I might overrule you guys. I might just do some
Kyle
clicking.
walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his...
No, we didn't have enough time.
Kyle hurried to the set.
I will find out what's
Sitting
in that
across from
pantry.
his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
We haven't tried answering politely. Remember, chat, anyone can vote. Just type in the letter that you want to choose.
"And I as well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. "You are a most welcome guest." After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on.
I already tried gossip about neighbour earlier. And I think that's one of the endings. Maybe. I don't know.
"Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle." Kyle vomited all of the horrible
no.
things he had eaten earlier onto the floor.
There
Rachel
go
looked
the
at Kyle,
bugs.
concerned, gave a couple coughs, and decided to play it cool and keep the show running. Kyle stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. "Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction." Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello, Kyle," she said. "I'm glad to be here." "Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss. So we might as well dive right in," said Kyle. "I'm very ready," said Rachel with a winning smile. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier.
Why there's no options? Oh, there are the options. They're in the same order as usual. Maybe they're supposed to be mystery options until people vote for them. I don't know.
A burning question from the fans, said Kyle. Beef, do you prefer it mashed or blended? Rachel answered promptly, mashed, and no more was said on that matter. Kyle asked another question.
Ooh. I'm glad she likes her not potatoes, her beef mashed though. Blended beef's just weird, you gotta mash it.
Rachel, am I a mother? Kyle looked at her very seriously. Rachel was visibly unsure of how to respond. Well, Kyle, I think you might be a better source of answering that question than I am. But do you think I'm a mother? Asked Kyle, pushing further. Rachel paused for a second before answering. I think you inspire youth to pursue STEM fields, she answered. Kyle asked another question.
Oh, indecision.
Hey, I ran over a puppy on purpose, said Kyle. Everyone in the studio froze. Kyle spread his hands out wide. It's a joke! He started laughing from the bottom of his stomach. Nobody laughed with Kyle. Several minutes later, he stopped laughing and moved on. Kyle asked another question. Rachel, are you guilty? Kyle threw his questions on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her. Rachel's eye twitched slightly. Guilty of what, dear Kyle? She smiled disingenuously. Guilty, spat Kyle. Of your crimes!
Crimes!
Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably. After reading his final question, Kyle looked up from his paper. Well, Rachel, he said, I think that's all I was planning on asking you. If that's the case, Kyle, may I ask you something in return? Asked Rachel, smiling one more time. Why exactly did you decide to wear swimming goggles today? Before Kyle could answer, the camera shut down. The broadcast was over. Kyle returned home knowing the interview had gone well. But as he lay in bed and drifted to sleep, he felt that perhaps something was still missing.
Ooh! We unlocked more options. Excellent. Nay! Tell me about your day. How was your first day at school, Naysay? I want to hear all about it. Did you make friends? Did you have a nice lunchbox? Did you get a nice locker? Are the teachers nice? Did you get to go out and play in the playground? Is she even still here? I don't know. Hope she is. What did we unlock there? Nothing in there. Ah, because we got that one. Kyle conducted. That was a good interview, apparently. I don't know if Nay's still around. She might have got bored of us faffing about and not listening to her. Hi, Nay! Tell me all about your day. Well, I mean, prioritising phone calls over us. It's just rude. Right. Yes. Yes. Tell me all about it. Frosty, you've made that seem like Naysay's gonna buy skunk pasties. It was so cool, was it? Tell me, tell me, tell me. 30 people in the class and Stowe's most violent show. Okay, that's cool. Did you know any of the other people? That is awesome. You knew none? Do you reckon there's some people you might make friends with? Nice. Awesome. That's so cool. So glad you had a good first day, Nay. Oh. Seems like everyone's nice there, Nay. Oh. Awesome. You were just having the best day ever, Nay. And now to make it even better, you're here with us. Just puts the cherry on top of the cake. Oh. It is nice when you can make a stranger smile. And then... waiting with bated breath. Type faster, Nay. Although this music is awesome. You had a talk with the company yesterday. You responded to them that you're interested in trying their game. Nice! Very nice. Yay! On that note, Nay, have you tried Keymailer? And no, you're just living the best life right now. More? You cannot have more good news. It's just not fair. Can I have some of it? Nobody knows this. It's okay. Like, oh yeah, you can tell us secrets here. It's not like this goes on YouTube and Twitch and like there's no one watching. Model reveal in April. Ooh. 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 We'll keep it secret. We won't tell anybody. Secret, secret, secret. Shh. Shh. Is insane. I mean, that's so much good news. That's insane. But nay, if you want free Steam keys, sign up on Keymailer. It's good. Keymailer. Keymailer. Because of how they mail you keys. It's for content creators, and you link all your accounts, and then they you can request keys for games, and then the companies can see like what presents you've got on different platforms, and then if they want to, they will send you free keys. So I've had 2. Lake Season's Greetings was from Keymailer, and there's another game I've got that I haven't played on stream yet. It's good. I'm not big enough yet to get any like really cool games. Although Lake was pretty cool. But you're bigger than me, so you can probably get some. Anyway, shall we do another run? Try and get some more endings? Or do we want to... Are we bored of this now? Do we want to try something else? What are we thinking? What is it? Mullet Mad Jack. Ooh. Looks good. What do we think then? Do we want to go for some more runs of Kyle is Famous, or do we want to play something else? Any opinions? More, alright then. That was very enthusiastic.
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
Go for it then, guys. Get your votes in. I'm a vote to skip because I've seen it a few times now.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
No problem, Nay. I always like to hear your news. And I'm glad you're feeling a lot happier than you were the other day. I don't like it when you're sad. I don't like it when anyone's sad.
Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
Can we, I want to go in the pantry. Let's go in the pantry. We go in the pantry. Yeah, you'll get there one day, Nate. Like I say, I need a new,
Kyle made his way over to his desk
computer.
and sat down.
I was going to say you need to stab Nate's computer, but that would probably make things worse rather than better. I think this is the one problem, Alexa, that your sword can't fix. Oh, but apparently we unlocked more options, didn't we?
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his
CDs?
desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
And a flashlight. Oh, flashlight. Then we can look at our clothes. Maybe there's better clothes. Sorry, I turned the game volume down when it was just music. There we go. That might be better. Right, well, if your sword can make Nay's computer, and mine as well, please, into a super awesome computer.
Kyle grabbed the flashlight, but after jiggling the switch, he found it was out of batteries. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
God damn it. If you were batteries, where would you hide? Maybe in the pantry.
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
I don't know, Nay. I think channel name? I don't know, I can't remember what I did.
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept in his desk.
Oh, mine's got both. I
Kyle
put my
made his way over to his desk and
I
sat
put my
down.
actual name in. But I don't know if you have to. I want to go see what's in the pantry. Let's go see what's in the pantry. Do you know what? I'm going to override you guys.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
I want to see
Kyle
what's in the
walked into
pantry.
the small.
Gonna
Kyle
do
walked
it.
to the center of the kitchen. Kyle wanted to access the pantry.
I've done
The
it.
pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amount of bottled lard.
Lard. What are we going to do with a bottle of lard?
Kyle grabbed a bottle of lard and stashed it on his person for later use. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
All right, guys, back to you. I'm happy now. We've seen in the pantry. Actually, because I was talking to Nay during the ad break, I really need the loo. So I'm going to leave it in your capable hands, and I will be back in a few minutes. I am very...
Kyle opened the fridge, intending
very
to
happy
find
with my
something to
lard.
eat.
But I'll be back in a minute.
Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage. Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite. He felt refreshed. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
I'm back. I realised I left my mic unmuted.
Kyle
So,
walked into the small hallway
don't know
that
what you
connected
heard
the
there.
rooms of his apartment together.
What have you done to my guy? Oh, we ate some good food. That's nice. We've got our lard. We've eaten. We've got a nice full tummy. We're having a good day.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Ooh, what can we do with the CDs, do you think?
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
You're on a mission, Alexa.
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
You're like, no, Kyle, you will not do anything. You're on a mission of not, yeah. On a procrasti mission.
Kyle began shuffling through the dusty CD pile that held all of his favorite music. Many of the CDs were unlabeled or broken.
Well, there's no not here. It's music or nothing.
Kyle grabbed a CD with a bright red cover simply labeled Carnival Time. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
Do you think we've got some time to put some clothes on?
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Am I going to have to Google that now? I might do it in a private browser. Private browsing. Because I'm scared. Incognito.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts.
No, I don't want to sign into Google. Not for this. There's a rusty locker.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Oh, they're for covering your nip-nops. I see.
Kyle chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh.
Oh, pasties.
Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity.
And we've got
As Kyle approached her,
mashed
Rachel looked up and smiled.
skunk glue guns.
Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded.
I feel like there's only one thing you can do when you've got squashed roadkill. Hot glue guns to your person, right?
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start
He's
the show.
struggling now. Everything worked fine for me. It takes it a while to update everything. So you have to wait like a day sometimes for it to update all the things you've done. I mean, maybe. It only updates every now and again, so I would just leave it maybe for a bit. It's a slow process.
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera.
And also,
Welcome
half
back
the
to
time it
Stay
doesn't
Up
know
Late with Kyle.
what game
Tonight, I
is
have
what,
the pleasure of
'cause you haven't
interviewing
put
the
in the
lovely Rachel May, who needs
CD?
no more introduction.
Unless you use the exact hashtags it wants, or the exact tags it wants, or the exact wording it wants, it doesn't always know what game is what. This is a bit finicky, but when you get a key through it, it tells you which tags to use, and that works well. So,
As Rachel started to reply, Kyle clamped his hand over her mouth. Hush, he said. I need to do something before we can continue. Kyle removed the CD he had brought to the interview and placed it in a nearby player deck. The sound system kicked into action, piping Kyle's music throughout the studio. Rachel briefly listened, a blank expression on her face. Smiling, Kyle closed his eyes and enjoyed the music for a moment. Then, he spoke. All right, now everything's ready. Let's begin. In a shock, Kyle realized he had never bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Knowing he had the eyes of millions upon him, Kyle came up with a solution quickly.
if you get free games, yes. Because then Keymailer knows that you've covered the games that you said you were going to cover. And then a secret score goes up and then you get offered more games.
Rachel, I need to be honest. You're not terribly interesting and I could not think of what I should ask you. In fact, continued Kyle, I would far rather interview a fish than I would you. And furthermore, said Kyle, I'm not sure I could tell the difference between a you and a fish. Kyle leaned back in his chair and desperately hoped the blame had been shifted adequately. Rachel glowered at Kyle. Kyle glowered back. Rachel left the studio. Kyle no longer had a guest and spent the next 42 minutes staring at the camera silently.
Ooh. Kyle prepared by blaming others. Got a new cursor. Oh. Oh. Hee hee. Good for you, Nay. No, I didn't until a few weeks ago. We've got 5 endings out of 117, guys. Come on, we're getting there with it. Another one? What's custom stories? Whoa, you can write your own stories. This is crazy. Anyway.
Kyle woke up. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
What happens if we don't do anything? I guess we'd just faint because of lack of food.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
There was a new thing in the closet, wasn't there? Wasn't there a locked box with a lock? Perhaps.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark and he could really only
locker.
see his hanging shirts.
That's what it is. Wonder where we find batteries for the flashlight.
Kyle knelt down and inspected the old, rusty container that had been in his closet for ages. It was locked, but had a blade-shaped slot in the top. Kyle returned to the center of the
We
bedroom.
need to find a knife. What if there's more options in scavenge now? Let's see.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor,
Ooh.
realizing his immediate need for...
Resources? That's exciting and also mysterious.
Kyle began to comb through the damp piles of filth and mold on his floor in search
Why
of
is your
helpful
floor-
items. After finding and eating a few bits of crumbs and old cheese, Kyle found something much more important. Indeed, it was the corpse of Harry, a friend that had gone missing years ago while at Kyle's house. Kyle was glad to see him again, but was unsure of whether to interrupt such an important day with Harry business.
Kyle's a strange fellow, isn't he? He's mega rich. Well, I assume he's mega rich. He's mega famous. And yet, he lives in a pigsty. And such a pigsty
Kyle hoisted Harry onto his shoulder
that his
and
friend
took him
went
outside.
missing while visiting his house, and he only
Kyle
found his
began
corpse
dragging Harry's
years
body
later.
down the street, drawing many, many stairs. Kyle knew exactly where he needed to take Harry's corpse, on a lovely playdate, just the two of them. Kyle and Harry started at the arcade. Kyle used Harry's arms to operate the joysticks and push buttons. After 5 or 6 different games, the two friends had enough tickets for a single candy bar. They took their prize to the local park for eating. Kyle tried to feed some of the chocolate bar to Harry, but Harry seemed to not have an appetite. After eating, Kyle noticed a nearby playground. He dragged Harry over. Kyle tried to figure out a way to swing Harry onto the swing set, but lacking the ability to grip, Harry kept falling out. Instead, Kyle started to lug Harry to the top of the slide and shove him down time and time again. Finally, Kyle took Harry to the movies to see as many popular films as their pocket change allowed. Kyle quickly found that he had no pocket change, so he searched through Harry's pockets until he found his wallet. Kyle bought 2 tickets to A Love Romance. After getting inside, Kyle left Harry to go find a restroom. By the time Kyle had finished using the restroom, he had forgotten that he brought Harry along. Kyle watched A Love Romance by himself. Harry's corpse sat on a bench in the atrium. While Kyle was in the movie, a beautiful thing happened. Harry's corpse, imbued with the power of friendship and love, was reanimated. Harry's old, rotten flesh gained color and life. His fingernails regrew. His missing eye came back. By the time the movie was over, Harry was able to greet Kyle with a large, friendly hug as his old self. Kyle was confused but delighted to have his long-lost friend meet him on his way out of the theater. The two made plans to get drinks together and parted ways for the day. Kyle returned home, forgetting about the interview with Rachel.
Well, that was good. I guess.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
We were ghosts that whole time as well, so we were dead too. Maybe there's something else in that. Oh no, maybe we should... Oh, yeah, maybe we should be a ghost. Because maybe there's something else in that room that had the sewing machine in it. Now there's more options in places.
Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
Or not. Or not. Do you think if we're in the suit of armour we can headbutt our way in that door? Oh, Alexa's on a mission.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
See, I've been trying to find a clock for this room that I'm currently in that ticks like that. And all the clocks I can find online, all the wall clocks, are like silence wall clocks. I'm like, I don't want a silent one. I like a tick.
Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him.
Where's your mission taking us, Alexa? Oh, text door. Alright. I feel like you've got a plan in mind.
Kyle walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot playing soft music from a small microphone.
Oh, you want the free stuff.
Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered any free samples to important customers. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample. Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out.
Are we not, like, super famous? Thought that was the whole point of this.
Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several punctures in the screen. Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever.
Yeah!
Kyle walked out into the middle of the road
got a
and took
telephone.
a long, pondering look around him.
We cracked the screen a little bit, but we got a telephone. Oh no, I wanted to do B. I wanted to do B. The order of the letters is very weird.
Kyle approached his
Yeah.
downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door.
We can consume Gabby. What? I mean, to be fair, we've already eaten a fridge. What's a human being compared to that? At least people are technically made of food.
Kyle unhinged his jaw and swallowed Gabby whole. Job done, Kyle returned to the middle of the street. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him.
Wait, what's that? Gabby. Tick.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
We could get the key and still go in that locked door. I mean, unless you have other plans, Alexa. You have other plans, okay.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
We're battling it out now.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
I'm winning the battle.
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
Still winning the battle. Come on, grab the key. Get the key. Get the key. I want to see what the key will show us. Get the key. 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 No!
Kyle grabbed the flashlight, but after jiggling the switch, he found it was out of batteries. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
Get the key. Get the key. Get the key. Get the key. Alexa, why do you hate me?
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
Get the key. 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 Yeah, I've noticed, Alexa.
Kyle began shuffling through the dusty CD pile that held all of his favorite music. Many of the CDs were unlabeled or broken.
You can go off people, you know, Alexa.
Kyle grabbed a CD covered in pictures of string instruments. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
I want the key. I could just overrule you by clicking, but this is more fun. I mean, I can't do that unless nobody in chat votes. Because if it's not chat voting, then...
Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there.
I'm gonna do it.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
No, you've made me
Kyle
run out of
returned
time.
to the center of the bedroom. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
God damn you, Alexa!
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone.
We already had that ending. Right. Taking your power away.
Kyle woke up.
No. We can browse social media. Oh, we've still got the phone. Oh, the phone is ours forever.
Kyle started to scroll through news articles on his phone. Stay Up Late with Kyle ranked #1 and #2 show on television.
You can still vote, by the way. I've just taken away the automatically pick what you vote for thing. Taken away your power.
New East Bridge being constructed after being found to not actually exist. Authorities investigating.
You did an accidental good with the tech store. Not necessarily with the not letting me get the key.
Another grand larceny and crime spree streak. Evidence points to perpetrator fleeing the country.
We could just stay in bed all day, doom scrolling.
Rachel May to unexpectedly leave the country on very, very long vacation after interview tonight.
Ooh. That's some news.
Who is the bug vigilante recently spotted pursuing larcenists?
We know who the bug vigilante is. It's our neighbour.
Kyle fails to show up to several charity events.
Oops. Although, I feel like we're only responsible for him from the moment he woke up this morning.
Bug vigilante shows up to charity events with fresh baked pastries. Donations flourish. Hot dogs making resurgence as fuel source for both humans and tugboats.
Tugboats, you say? Do you think there's enough of these for us to just do the whole day reading them?
Phone model recalled. Techno Gym stores blame overuse by customers.
Is that the phone model that we've got? Are we overusing it a little bit, maybe?
Kyle's phone exploded in his hands from overuse.
Yeah. Well. Key! I'm doing it. Getting the key.
Kyle grabbed the small key.
I'm going.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
It wasn't the key to this, was it? It was the key to the pantry. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. All that time.
Kyle wanted to access the pantry door. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amount of bottled lard. Kyle voraciously grabbed the closest bottle, snapped the neck against the wall, and sucked out all of the fat within a minute. Kyle wildly sucked down another bottle. He felt very sick.
I do feel stupid now, yes, Alexa.
Kyle's vomit and the lard were mixing in a way to make it hard to tell which was which. As Kyle finished the last bottle of lard, he felt a wave of accomplishment come over him.
Yeah! We drank all the lard, we drank all the lard, we drank all the lard in the pantry. Hi, Bella.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat. Kyle hurried to the set.
Have you played this game, Villa?
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel
So you can vote, Villa,
averted her eyes.
when there's options. You just type the letter that you want in chat.
Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom
We just
looked at...
we just
as it
yeah,
became
we
apparent that Kyle
just got the nudist
one
ending
by-
again. Yeah.
Kyle...
Yeah. Okay, let me put auto pick Twitch vote on again.
Kyle woke. Kyle's first decision of the
Okay.
morning was made wisely.
Back to you guys. You can vote. I can vote too. I want to vote for. I wanna be a ghost. I want to get into the locked room.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away.
Nice.
Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
I mean, if I could slay the princess, I would slay the princess.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
How are you anyway, Villa?
Kyle wrote down his first question.
You got a long day ahead of you.
Kyle
Social things
wrote
can be
down
just
his
as
second
exhausting,
question.
though.
Kyle wrote down his third question.
Time does keep on moving.
Kyle wrote down his last question.
None of you guys are voting, so this is going to be a vaguely sensible interview. I'm quite interested to see how that goes. Oh, now you're voting. You eating? And text small. Okay. Wow.
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and
You're
got
not
up
watching
from the
this
desk.
on the big screen
Kyle
in
made
your
his way over to his desk and sat
work
down.
common area then, like you usually do, Villa. I'm in a Sis corner. Yay. I'm glad I've got my very own corner of your laptop.
Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
I want to go in the locked room. I want to go in the locked room. I want to go in the locked room. Yeah, you might all want to undo the revolution if you're exposed to too much Britishness. It's a risk.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
Door, 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 door. Were you not appreciative of my cosplay then, Villa? I think I make a good Travis Willingham.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway. but
There's
found
nothing
quickly
new
that
in
the
there.
door was locked from the inside.
I mean, it's Chetney Pockapee, really. But, yeah, sure. I hope there's something new in here now.
Kyle used his ghostly powers to walk straight through the door.
Ooh.
Kyle found himself in the room he stashed
Yes.
the various items sent to him by fans.
Oh! There's a supernatural artifact and a laser claymore. I don't know what a laser claymore is, but I think we should get that as well.
Expecting a battle, Kyle grabbed the laser claymore. Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
What's a claymore, though? Gonna have to Google that now. Oh, it's a big stabby stab. That's why you know, Alexa. Because I very stupidly gave you one.
This was one of the many mysterious artifacts Kyle had been sent over the years.
Why do you want to smash it? Guys!
Kyle began pounding the mysterious artifact with both fists. Within a few hours, it had become dust. An ancient force trapped in the artifact was released and turned Kyle into a lizard demon. Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
Okay, well now we're a lizard demon ghost. Because why wouldn't we be? We're a lizard demon ghost with a laser claymore.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was only half removed. Kyle found himself in the
Something
room he
about that.
stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
Alright. Let's go suit of armor then.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle returned to the center. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark. Kyle decided to take... Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. After much squeezing and sweating,
We are now
Kyle managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self. Kyle returned
a
to the
ghost
center
lizard
of the bedroom.
demon with a laser claymore in a suit of armor. And we're about to go and interview someone. Woo. Yeah, the full set.
Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Sitting
we're
across from his host chair was a glamorous
a lizard
woman with
demon
an
in a
air
suit
of
of armor.
genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile turned to horror as she realized she was looking not at a human, but a lizard demon. Pandemonium ensued. Scripts went flying, crew members ran in all directions, lights were knocked over. As Kyle watched the chaos around him, his lizard demon form enveloped his last shred of humanity. Kyle grew to a massive size. Within minutes, he had demolished the now empty set. A local force of 5 spunky teenagers in brightly colored apparel arrived at the scene to fight Kyle. As the teenagers swung at him with their spunky, individualized weapons, Kyle pushed them over with his foot. Kyle's rampage of the studio ruins continued, but in another part of the city, a hero was rising up. In a dusty apartment on the top floor of an old skyscraper in the oldest part of town sat a large man named Frank. Few people in the world knew that Frank
Honestly,
existed.
Villa turns up
Fewer knew his
30
name.
seconds later.
Frank
Look
was
what's
watching
happening.
the local news. A story about the studio rampage was
Somehow
playing.
we're a lizard demon on a
Quickly,
rampage.
Frank got up from his chair. He opened a small door hidden behind a poster on his wall. Inside was an unbelievable mound of fat-ridden foods, unrefrigerated and fairly rotten. Frank began to consume the mound at a frightening rate. His body began to puff. Frank expanded, faster and faster with each minute. He burst through the roof. Within minutes, Frank was a towering behemoth. He rolled across the city, rebounding off of buildings and getting cheers from onlookers below. Approaching Kyle, Frank gave a long, painful heave upwards into the sky. To Kyle, the sky turned black. He looked upwards to see the monstrous figure hurtling towards him.
We've got the sword, though.
And in a moment, Kyle was completely enveloped in rubbery fat, unable to move or make noise. Frank was quite tired and passed out where he lay. Several years went by as Frank slumbered. As Kyle was held in Frank's warm, fatty embrace, his humanity began to return. When the first winter came, Frank's body recycled his fat for resources. Over many months, he shrank in size. Eventually, Kyle was human and Frank was thinned. They both walked away from the scene as new men. Neither realized how much time had passed.
Well, on that note, it is time for another break. I will see you. I say another break. Our first break was Naysay story time. But this time will be a proper break. I will see you. More Kyle is Famous in a few minutes. Aha. It's only DC 2. No. No. No.
You feel yourself repulsed as the doors of his mind slam shut.
That'll do.
The monster lies exhausted, defeated. Its eyes, wet orange pearls, radiate malice.
Hooray! I'm useful!
That's that's so perfect.
Do it!
He's got a knife. I mean, I need you. Get in here. He just murdered me dead. No, where are you? Yeah, the wagon was destroyed because the horses just walked straight into the water when I wasn't pointing that way at all. I promise. Didn't do any of it. Do not worry, Miss Turpentine. Oh. God damn it! What's the next line? You're a sweets catch, a delicious entree. What's the next line gonna be? Naysay's stream, and it's quite cool that she shows clips of other people's channels so you can kind of see if you like them or not. I mean, it's a random clip from the channel, so sometimes they're a bit pointless and boring, but sometimes they're good. You can try my spoop counter though. If you type !spoop, it'll count how many times I've been. Hello. Right. Let's go again.
Kyle woke. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
Go, guys, go. Thank you, Villa.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
What I'm interested in, right, is if we go in the closet, there's a locker with a... Oh! That's what is that what we need the sword for? Because there's a blade-shaped hole.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts.
If we look in the locker, there's a blade-shaped hole in it. I'm wondering if we go and get the sword. Then, is that what we need to get into the locker? I mean, if it's a rusty locker, I don't know why we can't just, like, force it open somehow. Maybe it's not quite
Kyle
that rusty.
knelt down and inspected the
Blade-shaped
old rusty
slots in
container
the
that
top.
had been in his closet for ages. It was locked, but had a blade-shaped slot in the top.
Right,
Kyle
I'm gonna
returned to
do
the
it.
center of the bedroom.
Hallway.
Kyle walked into the small hall.
Locked door.
Kyle walked...
Float 3.
Kyle, you...
Go inside.
Kyle found him...
Claymore.
Expecting a battle.
Back to room.
Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans.
Gonna grab the artifact,
This was one of
because
the...
screw you guys.
Kyle found himself in... Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected...
Bedroom.
Kyle returned to the center...
Closet.
Kyle opened the
Locker.
Kyle knelt down.
Laser
and inspected the old
claymore.
rusty container. Kyle took the laser claymore in his hand and slid it into the hole on top of the box. The box began to rumble slowly, but then it shook harder and harder. Suddenly, with a snap, the box lid came loose.
Box might be full of lizard people,
Kyle,
you don't know.
giddy with excitement, grabbed the box to drag it into the light. With much sweating and pulling, Kyle slowly inched the box out of his closet. He began to giggle and drool. Soon, the box had been transported into the middle of the room. Kyle clapped his hands together and gripped the lid on either side. With a tug, it tumbled to the floor, revealing
the
the
box?
contents of the box. There was nothing inside.
Huh.
Kyle was incredibly disappointed. This
I'm
had been an
incredibly
opportunity for him,
disappointed.
a way to find something new, a way to break up the routine. Suddenly, Kyle was struck with an unquenchable feeling of boredom about his life. Kyle jumped to his feet and burst outside, hungry to find anything that could give his day a feeling of interest. Painfully, Kyle started grabbing anything he could reach, smashing it into his face to see what it could possibly do for him. Rocks, benches, people, squirrels, and the ground itself fell into Kyle's grasp, but soon his energy began to wane. Slowly, sadly, Kyle made his way back to his apartment, quietly grabbing small items off the ground and rubbing them against himself. Kyle slowly sank into his bed, as bored as when he had left earlier that day. He looked at the ceiling, feeling hollow. The day had been very hard. As he slowly fell asleep, Kyle wondered what he could possibly do tomorrow to inspire a new sense of interest in his life. He didn't know it then, but tomorrow, Kyle would try something new.
Kyle is a hot dog. What? How do we? I don't know, how do we?
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
How do we do the hot diggity dog, though? I don't know how.
Kyle is... Stay up. Top tech. Kyle had... Kyle's first decision of the morning
Change
was
jobs,
wisely.
yes!
Kyle thought very carefully about the first move of his day. Kyle laid in bed for a moment, thinking about the day ahead. He would produce another episode of his long-running show, yes. Kyle thought about making breakfast, the same breakfast he'd been making for the past 9 years. Kyle thought about the clothes he would wear. They had not changed for a long time. Kyle waited for something new and interesting to enter his head. Something fresh. Something exciting. Kyle continued to wait. Nothing came to mind. In a sudden moment of inspiration, Kyle threw his covers to the ground and stepped out of bed. Kyle had made a decision. Today would not be part of an old journey. Today would be the start of something new. Kyle walked over to his desk and opened the middle drawer. He slowly removed an ancient, withered stick of meat.
From the drawer,
Today,
right?
Kyle planned to make good on his childhood passion, the career he had abandoned to become a talk show host. Kyle looked caringly at the crusty hot dog in his hands. Then, he smiled. Then he bent his lips downwards and slowly sucked the hot dog into his mouth and down into his stomach. Kyle had become a hot dog vendor. He must now prepare for his first day running a hot dog stand. Kyle exited his bed.
All right,
and took
guys,
a
what we
quick
gonna do?
glance around his bedroom. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
The organisation of the letters has been confusing us all game, Villa. They're consistent. They never move, but they're just not where you expect them to be. And I don't know why they're in
Kyle
that
started
order.
looking around for hot dogs. He crawled around, spreading layers of mold to the side with his hands and picking out interesting items. Kyle couldn't find any hot dogs, but instead he found a pile of love letters he had written in high school. Kyle pocketed the envelopes and got back to his feet. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Did we really think that we'd find hot dogs? I mean, okay, we found the corpse of our long-lost friend in our hallway, in our bedroom. So, I guess maybe we could have also found hot dogs there. Maybe it wasn't beyond the realms of possibility.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together.
Maybe there'll be hot dogs in the kitchen. Who knows?
Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
I'm a sucker for a new option. If you give me a new option in any game, or in games like Baldur's Gate, if you're giving me an option that's related to my class or my race, I'm gonna take it. Give me an option that looks special in any way.
Being in the kitchen gave Kyle a massive amount of hot dog-related nostalgia. He stood still, pondering.
I don't know if it's possible to think about hot dogs too much if you're a hot dog vendor.
Kyle continued to think about hot dogs.
I'm wondering if we do this for long enough, if
Kyle still continued to think about hot dogs.
something will happen. What do you think? Can we think about hot dogs for 19 more hours? Alexa's actually agreeing with me for once. This is unheard of.
He thought about their flavor. He thought about how different brands tasted different.
Have we? You're disagreeing with me again. Just saying.
Kyle thought about hot dog texture and their feeling in his hand.
I'm always sneaky.
Kyle was still thinking about hot dogs.
I could just be picking it, couldn't I, and saving us all waiting for however many seconds it is. Why don't I do that?
Kyle's skin began to dissolve its bonds and melt from standing still too long. He began to spread across the floor, creating small puddles through the kitchen. Kyle's jaw caved, causing the top of his head to slowly drop backwards and point towards the ceiling. Kyle sunk lower and lower. His height was soon half of what it was before. Chunks of skin fell to the ground.
I mean, we can't give in now, can we?
Kyle's fingers and legs fell off, dissolving into drops of ooze as they dropped. Kyle was a large puddle of melted skin with bumps where his main features used to be.
He's only been there for a few hours.
Kyle's atoms had lost all of their bonds. He had turned into nothing more than a meat-based soup. Kyle stopped thinking about hot dogs and moved on with his day. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
Oh, easy doggo. Guys, you've got to make an actual choice now.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a
Marketing
long, pondering
agency?
look around him.
Yes, please. That's new.
Kyle walked to the center of the agency entrance. It looked professional and had an attendant behind a desk.
The trash wouldn't be there if there wasn't something exciting in it. That's what I reckon. It's only 4 hours until hot dogs, guys.
Kyle began rummaging around in the trash can, looking for anything interesting. After picking through wrappers and cups, Kyle noticed there was a red button stuck to the bottom of the can.
Push the button! Push the button! Work? Ugh. That doesn't sound like fun, Alexa.
Kyle eagerly pressed the button. The wall above the trash can started shifting and spinning, eventually revealing a slab of pewter with an indent. The slab was thick and old. A plaque was embedded in the top, reading, "The slab embraces only a true weapon."
What's that about?
Kyle made his way to the street corner. But there was a problem. In his rush to collect the things he would need to properly be a hot dog salesman, Kyle had forgotten to put on clothes. Kyle decided to continue and hope nobody noticed. Unfortunately, many people noticed.
I hope it does too, Alexa. I hope
Kyle spent his
the
night in
work
jail
is
for
easy
indecent
and fun.
exposure. The next day, Kyle was released with a small fine. He had missed his opportunity to sell hot dogs.
Oh man. We went to jail for being naked. That's unfortunate. Do you think the sword goes in the... I'm gonna speedrun and get the sword, and then see if that goes in the thing in the
Kyle
marketing
woke up.
agency. Change.
Kyle
this.
thought. Kyle laid in bed for a moment. Kyle had...
Oh, what? We can't. can't be a ghost. So how do we get...
Kyle walked over to the strange
We
door in the
use
hallway,
hot dog
but found
magic, of
quickly that the
course
door
we
was
do.
locked from the inside. With a hum and a pop, Kyle used his massive knowledge of hot dog magic to change the door handle into a hot dog.
We do. Of course we do.
Kyle sucked the hot dog into his mouth, opened the door, and walked through. Expecting a battle, Kyle grabbed the laser claymore.
Search for hot dog stand. No, I want to go to the marketing agency. Rummage and trash.
Kyle began... After picking through...
Press the button.
Kyle the wall above the trash can... The slab was thick
Yes.
and old. A plaque was embedded in the top, reading, "The slab embraces only a true weapon." Kyle inserted the laser claymore into the indent. The claymore fit perfectly, snapping into place. Small metal hooks came out of all sides of the slab to hold it in place. With a pop, fizz, and a magical elf chuckle, a human-sized rainbow gateway to another dimension appeared.
A rainbow gateway to another dimension.
The portal started sucking everything near it inwards, devouring chairs, trash cans, and Kyle himself. Kyle became part of a dizzying swirl. Lights and colors flashed all around him. He spun in circles rapidly. And in a moment, Kyle fell into the Gummy Bear and Claymore land, where all matter is either gummy bears or claymores.
That sounds like an interesting place.
Kyle was approached by a group of roaming gummy wasteland elves. Because of the harsh environment they lived in, the elves used their kin as blunt weapons to fend off attackers. Kyle looked upon the elves and realized they must live in a depressed and war-torn culture. And then, in a moment of pure empathy, Kyle decided to help the elves. Kyle grabbed the two nearest elves, one in each hand, and started to give them a talking to about war and its troubles. "Hello, you two," said Kyle. "I wish to give you a bit of advice."
I would like to point out that Kyle is stark bollock naked at this point.
But before Kyle could say anything more, the ground started shifting and morphed into a gummy bear monster. Kyle chucked the elves he was holding at the monster to fend it off, but it was to no avail. The monster charged at Kyle, throwing elves to the sides as it sped forward. Kyle had no choice but to become a gummy bear monster himself.
Yeah, I mean, what else could he have done?
He started to cover himself in gummy bears and claymores. They stuck to his skin like meaningful, gooey hugs. After moments of a vicious, sticky flurry, Kyle was covered in the new world's material. Then, something wonderful happened. Using a combination of determination, elf magic, and method acting, Kyle truly transformed into a real gummy monster.
Whoa.
But in his new form, Kyle was now not interested in fighting the other gummy monster.
Well, he wouldn't be, would he?
Kyle began swallowing every elf in sight in a wild, crazy rampage.
Yeah, that sounds like the sensible thing to do.
Over the next several hours, Kyle rampaged around the whole gummy world, eating every last elf whole. Kyle had gifted the elves with a warm, nutritious new world to live in. Over time, the elves created a new society inside Kyle's stomach. There was no need for war. They feasted on Kyle's stomach juices. Their culture entered a golden age.
I hope you're not still eating, Villa.
Eventually, Kyle turned back into a normal person and returned home. But the elves continued to live inside him. Kyle had saved a culture.
Yay! Kyle is Santa? Oh. Guys, Kyle is Santa.
Kyle woke up. He is
Oh, wait, hang on.
famous.
Go back to Twitch feeds.
Kyle woke up.
But we'll skip this.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
We're going to change jobs.
Kyle thought very carefully
We're
about
going to
the
embrace
first
the
move
Christmas
of his
spirit.
day. As Kyle started to
And
leave
then
his
it's
bed,
over to Chats.
something stopped him. Maybe it was a smell in the air. Maybe it was the chill from outside. Or maybe it was just pure luck. Kyle had been imbued with the spirit of Christmas. In an instant, Kyle began to hear the dreams and wishes of every child in the world all at once. Kyle's newfound abilities were quite overwhelming. He clutched his head and screamed loudly.
I mean, you would.
The voices did not stop. Kyle
Yeah.
curled into a small ball and rocked back and forth. Not to be left alone, Kyle was gifted with a Christmas miracle. Small bumps began forming under his skin, pushing outwards.
You.
Kyle's skin began to stretch and tear, letting loose a small army of elves that had been growing in his stomach. The elves scattered around Kyle's apartment, foraging for anything remotely nutritious to feed on. Kyle burst an elf army. He had been chosen to become Santa Claus.
So that's
Kyle
how you
decided
become
that the best
Santa.
course of action was to fulfill his duties as Santa Claus. Kyle stepped out of bed, stray elves falling from various holes in his skin. Kyle must now continue his day as Santa Claus. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom.
We should probably put some clothes on, right? If we're Santa Claus. Yeah, right. If we're Kyle to Claus.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts.
I don't know what clothes we're going to have I don't know if we're going to have the option of a Santa suit. But it'd be nice if we do.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Yes. Very. Anyone else who's lurking around chat, by the way, you can all vote.
Kyle appropriately chose to dress as Santa, who he was. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Wonder if there's anything different in the desk when we're Santa. Or also if there's anything different for the scavenging of.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and
Write
sat
a
down.
list. We're making a list. We're checking it twice. We're gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Kyle Claus is coming to town. He put on some clothes. He's writing a list. He might have a drink, say he might be pissed. Kyle Claus is coming to
Kyle knew
town.
he must construct his naughty and nice list. He began to think of all of the people in his life. Kyle thought of Gabby.
Gabby's the bug vigilante who stops all the bad guys. And we did eat her in one reality.
Kyle thought of Rachel.
Wait, we've still got to do the interview, even though we're Santa.
Kyle thought of Techno Jim.
He gave us a phone. I've got that song in my head now. Kyle Turclaws is coming to town. Sees you when you're sleeping. 'Cause he's
Kyle
a
thought of Kyle.
creepy dude. He's eating a fridge and he's eating a friend and he's eaten lots of food.
Kyle ripped his list out of his notebook.
Awesome.
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down.
We still got to do the interview though. Maybe we should write the notes for that if we've still got to do that. Mm.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Is your mother a mother? It's a very philosophical question. If she wasn't your mother, would you still be a mother? If she wasn't a mother, would she still be your mother? It's a riddle wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a Santa suit.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
Shush, computer. I don't need to know. I don't need to know about that. You don't need to tell me. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Kyle wrote down his third question.
No one's voting. I'm just going to pick.
Kyle wrote down his last question. Kyle ripped his page of notes. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked over to the strange
Christmas
door
magic.
in the hallway, but found... Kyle stretched out his hand, twisting it in its socket around and around. He sang a Christmas tune under his breath. The door swung open, letting Kyle through.
Yeah.
Kyle found himself in the room he stashed the various items sent to him by fans. Kyle walked over to... Kyle
Some
found
point,
himself in the
we'll
room.
be able to do something with
Kyle
that sewing
walked
machine.
into the small... Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
Christmas cookies.
Kyle thought it would be nice to make some Christmas cookies.
It would be.
He opened every drawer and cupboard in his kitchen, trying to decide what he would top his cookies with.
We've got lard in the
Soon,
pantry.
he had narrowed it down to 4 choices.
I mean, sprinkles.
Kyle placed a generous amount of sprinkles on each cookie. They were delicious.
Yeah.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity.
I love that we're
As
Santa
Kyle
Claus.
approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled.
Excuse you, Villa?
Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded.
I like screaming and spinning in circles. It sets a greeting off at the right foot, I feel.
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show.
No, I want to scream and spin in circles. Who's famous? Or rather, who's Santa? This guy.
Kyle shoved his producer out of the way, spread his arms wide, and began to scream loudly. He began to rotate slowly, screaming throughout, lightly brushing his hands against the faces of Rachel and his producer. After several minutes, Kyle was finished. He slowly put his hands to his sides and smiled. "I'm ready," said Kyle. Rachel blinked at Kyle, shrugged, and walked over to her seat. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. "Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle."
I'm Santa. I wonder if there are still elves falling out of holes in us occasionally. Just every now and again one drops out.
Kyle continued. "I am your host, Santa Claus. I am here to bring you Christmas cheer." Kyle put his notes down and looked at Rachel. Said Rachel, not understanding. "It's not something to joke about, Rachel," said Kyle. "I take being Santa very seriously." "And I take you very seriously, Kyle," said Rachel, trying to play along. "I am not Kyle," said Kyle. "I am Santa Claus."
We said that Rachel was naughty, so I don't know what present we're gonna give to her.
In an effort to convince Rachel of his Santa nature, Kyle hacked a present out of his mouth into his hand.
Is that how Santa
Kyle
works?
pushed the soggy present into Rachel's lap. Rachel looked slightly unsettled, but reached her hand to undo the bow on top. Said Kyle, slamming his hand on top of Rachel's. "You can't open it until Christmas." Rachel decided to play along. "I'm sorry, Santa," said Rachel matteredly. "Do you happen to have your naughty and nice list with you? I want to know where I stand." "Yeah," said Kyle, pulling out his list. "You don't rank well." Rachel was visibly taken aback. Oh? Said Rachel. "Why's that, Kyle?" 'Cause you suck." Kyle made no attempt to try to frame his comment as a joke. He stared at Rachel expressionlessly.
No, it's just because you suck.
Kyle, said Rachel, "being that I am Santa Claus, I'm not sure you have the authority to say that." Rachel pulled her own naughty and nice list out of her pocket. Kyle's blood ran cold. "And you, Kyle," said Rachel, "are getting awfully close to switching to the naughty list." She raised
I mean,
a pen
I already put
menacingly.
myself on the naughty list,
No.
so...
"Rachel, no," said Kyle. "Don't do that!" Rachel held her mouth open in a maniacal smile and drew the pen slightly closer to
No,
her
Rachel,
wrist.
no!
Kyle dived across the stage, nabbing at Rachel's hands to try to steal away either the list or her pen. A fist fight between the two ensued. Blows were given to the face of each with equal gusto. After several minutes of being slightly amused, the producer thought it may be better to end the broadcast. As the lights shut off and the studio closed, Kyle and Rachel were still locked in combat, neither backing down. Who between the two was the true Santa was never figured out. But indeed, that night, the true Santa was involved in a fistfight and did not deliver any presents. It was the worst Christmas ever.
Oh no! I think that feels like a good place to stop for the night. Personally speaking. I don't know why, I'm really exhausted tonight. I don't think I slept very well last night. So, I think this is a good place to end. So, let's see if there is anybody around for the raiding of. Oh, it's Silly Sausage's birthday stream. Let's go say hi to the sausagey one. Okay, raid message should appear in a minute or two. Thank you so much for watching. It's been short but sweet today. There will be no Cozy Sunday stream on Sunday because we are a group of us, including Villa, are playing Lethal Company Sunday afternoon / evening. So I won't be doing Pharaoh earlier, I'm afraid. But I hope to see you for Lethal Company on Sunday. And on that note, I hope to see you soon. Bye.